All right, welcome into the View from C-Deck, and it's just Matt flying solo tonight to react to the college football playoff announcement and the Buckeyes bowl game announcement, the Cotton Bowl against Missouri. Not always a lot to get excited about there. No big time marquee game really. I guess the Cotton Bowl is kind of big, but we'll be kicking off the New Year's 6 games on not New Year's, so that's always fun. But first, we're going to talk about the CFP and the announcement today that basically the committee said, fuck you to all on-field results. It's all a beauty pageant now. It does not matter anymore. Florida State goes undefeated. Sure, their quarterback gets hurt. I couldn't give less of a shit, to be honest with you, because anything you say about this is hypothetical. We're at the end of the season. Hypotheticals are done. It's time to pick what you actually accomplished. Florida State goes undefeated. Even without their starting quarterback, they beat a ranked team, top 15 team, in their conference championship by 10 points. Nothing to laugh at there, nothing to scoff at. I mean, not like Bama goes out there and crushes Georgia. So here's the teams that you probably already know. Michigan gets the 1 seed. Blech. Washington gets the 2 seed. Texas the 3 seed. And as soon as I saw the 3 seed as Texas, I was like, they're putting Bama in. I know they're doing it. They're putting Bama in. And it was just so disappointing to see that Bama gets the 4 seed over Florida State, who somehow is the 5 seed, and Georgia's the 6 seed. With the reasoning being that Bama gets in over Florida State is that they are just a better team because of the injury to Florida State's quarterback. Okay, defensible, since I guess it does say do get the 4 best teams. I don't think it's necessarily something you can prove, and therefore you have to go with what happened on the field. But let's say we agree with that sentiment. Why the hell is Florida State ahead of Georgia? Is Georgia not better? There's a 3-point loss, their only loss of the year, in which they otherwise dominated pretty much their entire schedule and are the 2-time defending national champions. You don't think they're better than Florida State without their starting quarterback too? Apparently not. How the hell does that make any sense? It makes 0 sense. The committee, year after year after year, they blew up their own freaking argument this year with that ranking. But they do it all the time. They totally make it up. And, if you can call it an SEC bias if you want, it's truth. It's absolute truth. Because these are every time, it pretty much helps out the SEC. The SEC is always getting a team in. This isn't going to get fixed by the 12-team playoff, by the way. They're going to be able to manipulate it even further with more SEC teams and better seeding. Like, you don't think they're going to give them better? They make sure they get a bye every time now, too? They're going to get a bye every single time. It's a joke. ACC actually had a winning record against the SEC this year, and Florida State gets totally left out. They go undefeated in a P5 conference. That should be automatically in unless there's 5 undefeated P5 teams. There weren't. And Bama already had their shot. And Bama fans, if you think we're whining, I don't give a shit if you think we're whining. Because if you're worried about that, don't fucking lose a game. Don't lose. And you don't have to worry about people getting pissed off that you got in over an undefeated P5 team. It's just a sham. It's disgrace to the game. Why play the games? You go undefeated in a conference that's supposed to be good and has won multiple national championships lately. They defeated that team that's won national championships lately. They defeated 2 SEC teams this year, including one that finished, is the 3rd best team, 2nd or 4th best team maybe, if you count in Ole Miss. But I don't necessarily think Ole Miss is a whole lot better, even though they beat them. Guess what? We're allowed to think that. It doesn't matter what the on-field results are anymore. I'm allowed to think that they aren't as good. It's just a joke. At least they got Texas ahead of Bama, but they kind of had to, and it was the easy way for them to do that too, because they're passing up Florida State still. It just makes no sense to have Georgia behind Florida State if you're going to do that. None of it makes sense. Go Washington in the playoff is my thought, but I will not be watching a second of it. I love college football. I do have a hard time watching the playoffs when the Buckeyes don't get in. This will be an easy time to not watch them because it's a sham. It's just a sham, and I'm not going to give my viewership to them. I'm not going to help ESPN make money off this. This is clearly why they did it, was to make money. If you feel this way at all, you should not watch it. This is a problem I have with all sports fans, though. They love to hate watch things. If you don't like Skip Bayless, don't watch Skip Bayless. If you don't like me, don't watch me. You're helping me out by watching me. Please watch, but it's just dumb. I know Direwolf and the Haas, they feel the same way, and we just have to hope that in the future they change away from this committee. It's a subjective thing. The problem with the BCS computers is people just want to bitch about everything. Like, it's never going to be right. But at least then you have an objective, set criteria. XYZ happens, you get through. That's just how it works. The computer spits out the number, great. If it was if the computer had spit this out, I'd be like, you know what? It is what it is, because the computer it's not going to talk out of both sides of its mouth. It's just going to spit out what it spits out. But this has always been the committee. Some years they say, we can't let an extra game hurt a team. Then Wisconsin loses to Ohio State in 2017. Bama gets in then while they're sitting at home. Man, see something happen in here? A little pattern, if you will. I mean, I know Ohio State, before you even say it, I know Ohio State got in 2016 without a conference championship, but they had one loss. They had 3 top 10 wins, 2 of which were on the road at night. And that's not top 10 wins at the time. That's top 10 of the final rankings. Their only loss was up to another top 10 team in the final rankings. I mean, I don't remember the last time anybody played 4 teams in the top 10 of the final rankings. And Ohio State did it and went 3-1 in those games. They had an unprecedentedly good, even if they didn't pass the eye test, they had an unprecedentedly good resume, and they deserved to get in, and then they got their freaking doors blown off, and we deserve to not get in the next years after that, I guess. But, 2018, Ohio State's the only one-loss team to not get in, and we've been one-loss Power 5 champ to not get in. We surpassed it this year with Florida State being undefeated, not getting in. It's a sham. It really makes you rethink about the sport in general, and it'll be interesting to see. I mean, they released a statement. I don't think they can get litigious over this, but it'd be kind of funny if they did. But fuck ESPN and fuck the committee for what they did to Florida State today. And I don't even really have a dog in there. I don't really like Florida State, but they deserve to be in, even if it gave Michigan an easy game. I don't want Michigan to have easy games, but they deserve to be in, just how it is. And it's just a sham that they're not. But moving on to Ohio State, we play Missouri. Not too much to preview yet, because we have to know who the hell is going to play in the game, especially for Ohio State. There was a tweet from the Barstool, Missouri, that nobody's sitting out of their game on their end, and I believe that, because why would they? Most of those guys, the only one I think would be a talent to not do that is Luther Burden III, their receiver, but he's only a sophomore, so you're not sitting out if you're a sophomore. He'll be back next year anyway, so he has a chance to make some big money, put himself in the top 10 for next year's draft, early mock drafts anyway, and I think it'll be a challenge for the Buckeye defense for sure, especially if our D-line sits out, if a lot of those guys do. I hope they don't. I think a lot of them shouldn't. I honestly think Marv and Trey and maybe Cade Stover should be the only ones sitting for the Buckeyes. Cade is more for the injuries. He's injured a lot. He's been injured all year, I think, or at least the second half of the year. You could tell he's been banged up. I think it's better for him to not go play. I mean, he got hurt in the bowl game last year as well. Better to just not risk it for him. He's probably a top 5 tight end, and probably like a 3rd, 4th round pick. He's got some holes in his game and some inexperience, but I think he can still get in. And they're pretty high. A lot of people are going to say Buka should and that he's a lock first rounder. I don't see that at all. There's at least 7 wide receivers that could go ahead of him, and 8 wide receivers in the first round is a lot. I mean, it could happen. Don't get me wrong, but from what I've seen from him, I wouldn't take him in the first round. I don't think he's that natural receiver. I don't think he has the best hands in the world. He's a slot guy who doesn't always his explosion looked like it was back at the end of the year, but he's not the most explosive guy. Will he be able to get open? Is he sure-handed enough to compete at the NFL level? He doesn't track the ball particularly well, I don't think, in the air. I mean, he's good, but he's not, I don't think, NFL caliber. He's got the physical, he's got the body. He's a willing blocker, but he actually didn't block that well against Michigan. He was one of our worst players against Michigan, graded out-wise. I don't see him as a lock first-rounder. I think he could improve himself a lot in this game without Marv on the field. Go out there and tear it up and put yourself for sure in the first round. Marv should be sitting for sure. Trey, you play a position that's too dangerous to be playing, and he's probably a second-round pick if I had to guess. Maybe if he runs like a 4.38, he goes in the first round, which he could do. I don't know if I see that. I don't see him as an every down back in the NFL, and only an every down back in the NFL is going to go that high. If he had more receiving tape, I think he could go higher because he could be a Kamara type. But that's it. Defensively, D-line, I mean, JT, I don't see why he goes in the first round. He's not an elite sack artist, and he was very solid all around, but we've seen players like that. I don't think he's any better than Sam Hubbard, who went in like the 3rd round, I believe. And it's turned out to be like a first-round type player, I guess, in the NFL. But I don't think he's even as athletic as Hubbard was. I wouldn't be taking him in the first round if I was I'd be taking him. A high second-round pick would be great for him. But does he want to sit out the bowl game? Maybe he goes out there and has 3 sacks and turns everybody's head and gets himself up. I don't think he will, but it would be great. So it'll be a tough matchup. That's a very, very good. Tyleik Williams might be a first-round pick, in my opinion. He's the best defensive player on our team. Reminds me a lot of Davon Hamilton, who had who's been great for the Jaguars, but he ended up being like a third-round pick. So maybe you play in the game to get yourself up higher. But I don't think like Denzel Burke. I haven't seen him in any mocks in the first round lately. I don't see any of these guys going in the first round. So you might as well play the game and try to get yourself bumped up. And they're not positions that have a super high risk for injury, like tight end and running back and receiver can. Yeah, give me a tough matchup, though. Good offense for Missouri. Pretty good I mean, they're not great defense, but they're like average to above average defense. They're not particularly terrible at anything. Their run D's like right around the same ranking as ours, or same like yardage given up as ours. They give up about a little over twice as many points. So they're not a great defense. We should be able to score points against them, but they are a much better offense than they're probably the best passing offense we've faced all year. Their tailback has almost 1,500 yards and 13 touchdowns. He's a stud. Luther Burden III, the wide receiver, is a stud. Had about the same stats as Marv in terms of total yards. Mookie Cooper is there, former Buckeye. Had a pretty decent season. Had about 400 yards receiving. They will not be a pushover. This is their Super Bowl, as they said. We don't have the motivation, but we should have the talent from top to bottom. We should be able, if our D-line plays, we should be able to win the line of scrimmage on defense and at least keep them under 30. Can our offense put up 30 against a not particularly good defense? I think they can. Kyle McCord's got a lot to prove, and I don't think they're going to start Kindholz yet over him. This might be his chance. If McCord goes out and throws down a stinker, even without Marv, he may be on his way out the door this year. I wouldn't be surprised if they push him out. And if he shows that he's not the guy. But if he goes out there and throws for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns and wins us a game like 31-24 or something like that, then maybe we're back to thinking, maybe McCord is the guy. We'll see. Maybe he just needed a little time in the offseason. He's been a little banged up too. But we'll see. We'll see if Day has any wrinkles, if he's going to play Lincoln Kindholz. I would like to see that. Maybe Devin Brown, we see some more of his little special packages. But, I mean, he didn't let him throw against Indiana. I don't think he's let him throw against Missouri. But we'll see. Interesting to see. I think Down Hayden, if we do see no Trey, Down Hayden, I'd like to see a lot of in this game. Let's see what he's got for next year. Evan Pryor just transferred or just entered his name in the transfer portal. So another running back down. It could just be him and Chip next year if things go how I think they're going to go, besides the 2 freshmen coming in. Or maybe 3 freshmen coming in. We'll see. We'll see what happens with Lyles. But yeah, can't do a field preview yet, though. Got to wait to see who's actually going to play in this game. But go Buckeyes. I'll be watching, and for you fans that I hate these crap games and stuff, you only get 13 of these a year, baby. Enjoy it. Go watch your Buckeyes play. Hope they win. Hope they show you something. Get you excited for next year. That's what I'd like to see. Maybe if these young receivers get a chance, Carnell Tate, Brandon Ennis, if Buckeyes does sit, if they go have huge games, just kind of like JSN and Marv did against Utah, that would be awesome and give us a lot of confidence going into next year. As we watch the NCAA Torpedo Scums program, we can rise up, and we should be a playoff team anyway next year, so it'd be good to see how we can perform in a big game. So, with that in mind, I'm just Matt. For everybody the view from C-Deck this year, the Haas, Greeny, of course, the Dire Wolf, our man, we'll be making a big bowl preview, so that'll be coming out sometime soon. But we thank everybody for watching us this year. Easily our most watched year by a lot, especially the week of the Michigan game. We appreciate all the support, and we will see you guys next time.
Hey, guys. Whoa, big gulps, huh? All right. Well, see you later.
A rich man's world.